Evening everybody and welcome to Rangers Journal podcast. This is sponsored by Premier VPN. It will bring you all your safe internet needs. So tonight we've had to endure a bit of a nightmare with Rangers supporters. Just a wee bit of fact finding before I come on. So we scored 2 goals away from home in the league. We're 9 points behind Aberdeen. We were told that the manager's job was safe as long as it was a transition season. That's a disaster. We played 10, won 6, drawn 1, lost 3. No style of play. A tactically inept manager. Predictable. The subs are awful. We can't take a corner. Defensively weak and we've got poor body language coming to our players. Cammy, I'm going to come to you first, mate. What's your reaction to that?
I couldn't actually put it any better myself, to be honest with you. I just think we're lacking all over the park since the wheels came off in March. It's been just a car crash, to be perfectly honest with you. 13 months Philip Clement's been in charge, and it's I just don't see a coach strangers team. He's gutted the squad. He's brought in players. Money has been spent. He's embedded to a philosophy, for want of a better word. But I just don't. I watch us and I don't actually see what we're trying to do. There's no patterns of play. I wonder what we work on Monday to Friday. What have we worked on in pre-season? We don't look energetic. It's hopeful football. Get the ball wide, throw the cross in, hope that something's going to happen. It's shambolic, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't believe that we're actually in this position again at this time of year. You know what I mean? It's like deja vu over the last couple of years. It's pretty demoralising, to be honest with you, Scotty.
Definitely, there's absolutely no complaints for me in what you're saying. We've got a special guest joining us tonight for Gers TV. We've got Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing, mate?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me. Wish it was under better circumstances.
How are you feeling after that, mate?
To be honest with you, it's what I expected. As bad as what that sounds, we'll go absolutely nowhere with Cyril Dessers playing up front for us. He does absolutely nothing whatsoever for us. It's beyond a joke how bad he is. You could probably take any striker from any other club in our league and he would do a better job than what he's doing just now for us. I'm being genuinely serious with that. You can take Jordan White out of Ross County and he'd probably do a better job than what Cyril Dessers is doing for us at Rangers.
I was saying tonight in my battle that John Sterling would have done a better job up front than what Dessers done. It's just absolutely awful, man. Absolutely awful.
There's glimpses that you look at we had a period of about maybe 15-20 minutes in the middle of the second half there. We thought, right, we scored the goal, we made a couple of half-decent chances, but you were just waiting for the sucker punch. You were just waiting for the defensive error. It's brutal. It's just, I want to know how bad it's got to get before change happens. And the problem that you have with everyone's calling for the manager's head, which I understand, right? But we've got an interim chairman. If you sack the manager, you're going to end up with an interim manager. And you're going to get yourself from a situation where it's really bad to even worse. Because the players are down tools on them. Nobody wants to play for an interim manager. So it's a really, really bad set of circumstances we're in just now. I'm really worried.
It's not even that. We can't even say that it's this squad of players' fault because the team was gutted in the summer. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's brutal.
The thing for me, we're 10 minutes to go and we're 2-1 down and we need to win the game. There's no doubt about it. We need to win the game. It was pipped as a must win. And he's taken off the number 9 striker, the guy that he started the game, apparently he's his main man, and he's brought on another striker. How can you not go with 2 up front? We're chasing the game. Why is he sticking? What's with this rigid formation that he's got? Why is he so stubborn on it? Because it doesn't work.
No, definitely doesn't, mate. Definitely doesn't. Stu, how you doing, pal?
Yeah, well, I've been in my bed with norovirus for the last 2 days, but I dragged myself out for that, and then funnily enough, I feel sick again. So less than ideal. It's just a tough watch, honestly. Don't get us wrong, like a little bit of credit, I guess, does have to go to Aberdeen. They looked well up for it. I think the atmosphere probably get the best of a couple of players. I think Conor Barron, see, rather than try to carry the ball and stuff like that, he seemed just to want to pass it and move the responsibility on other guys and stuff. But he's by far not the worst to blame tonight, but just such a hard watch. I agree, Dessers is just no sort of striker. You see when the ball broke to him in the box and he had a chance to bring it back to 2 each. And don't get us wrong, a draw tonight is still just as good as a loss, to be honest. There was no more luxuries of not being able to drop points this season, but today was just an absolute show, man. It wasn't a good show.
Aye, definitely. Cammy, we'll single out Dessers for just a couple of minutes. I says in the chat before we went to Kilmarnock, he's not the type of guy you want at number 9 when you're going to these places. I've been well known to criticise Dessers. I'm not his biggest fan in the slightest. Tonight is just confirmed yet again that he's not of the standard. Was there anything he done that we can take a wee bit of hope for?
Tonight,
0 for me.
Tonight he offered nothing, to be honest with you. But we've had 2 transfer windows to recruit. We may have a limited budget, but the recruitment has overall been, I've been consistent across the piece on this one, Scotty. The recruitment hasn't been good enough. The spine is weak. And until you get a strong spine, you've got a goalkeeper who his forms fell off a cliff. Centre defence, you don't know what your pairing is. Middle of the park, you've got young boys that, I've got to sound like a broken record, sign an experienced head, a dominant centre midfield player that can actually play alongside these young boys and actually guide them. And then you've got a centre forward that can't hold the ball up, can't run the channels. But we are persisting in playing away to a centre forward that's not his type of game. Dessers will get you 15, 20, 25 goals, but he's not the type of player, like you say, that you're going to need when you go away across the city. You go to Kilmarnock and Hearts and Hibs and all these places. The ball gets played up. You need I'll always go back to Alfredo. You get Alfredo, holds the ball in, plays the ball out wide, that sort of situation, But two transfer windows, and we've not recruited a starting number 9. 2 transfer windows, we've not signed a number 6. It's the recruitment has been awful, and that's the problem. That we're spending money, but we're not spending the money wisely. Regardless of whether it's a cheaper signing or a £4 million signing or whatever it may be. I mean, Diomande, £4.5 million and doesn't start. We're spending £4.5 million. That player has to make a huge difference. That has to be somebody that's grabbing the game in the middle of the park or scoring the goals up front. I'm just a boy that's been going to watch Rangers for 40 years. I'm not getting paid £1 million a year to have a fancy title, directory recruitment. That's just basic stuff and knowledge of watching football.
Aye, definitely, mate. For me, there's obviously some comments coming in about his post-match kind of reactions. There's been some of the stuff he says, Cummo's just said that's one of our better performances. Ryan, what's this guy not seeing with tactics, with players, with everything? How he's doing his job?
Scott, I can't answer that. I'm a regular punter. Me and Cammy sit up next to each other on the club deck, and we're sitting every week saying he's not picking the right for me. I've been saying for weeks we should be playing a 3-5-2. We can see that we need to stop leaking so many stupid goals. You've seen the second goal we lost tonight. It's pathetic. The first goal we lose tonight is a free header in the box. Everything that we're doing, every goal that we're losing, I'm thinking to myself, see if we had a third centre half in there, we've got a chance of stopping that. We need to get Tavernier out of defence. His legs have gone. So you can play Tavernier out wide right. I spoke about how good Jeffy can be going forward. That gets him wide left. play 3 guys across the middle of the park. Raskin and Barron seem to be doing quite well together. I think that's probably one of the only positives we can take from tonight, is how well they seem to be sort of pairing up together. You know, you could play someone in the middle with them, Basrami, you could play Lawrence in there. Dessers clearly isn't up for it, so you need to give him help. You need to get somebody close to him, and whether that's a Czerny, whether it's a Lovelace, the shape just doesn't work for me. And tactically, it's like the definition of madness. You keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, and it's we must be the easiest club to predict, to play against, and we're so easy to beat. It's no real. That you could predict what was going to happen tonight right off the bat. You could predict his lineup and his shape, and it must be so easy to get yourself prepared for. McInnes has got us down to a T. When McInnes lines up against us, he's got us down to a T. Same with Robinson at St Mirren. They know exactly what we're going to do, and he knows how to play against us. We need to change it.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. It's just beyond a fucking joke now, to be brutally honest with you. Cammy, you want to come in, mate?
See, the thing about having a way of playing, I don't have an issue with a manager that has a way that he wants to play, but you have to be flexible. You have to be not every game's the same, not every opposition's the same. It's like Ryan says, sometimes you maybe go 3 at the back, sometimes you go 4-4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, but you have to be flexible and not be embedded. And I think the fact that we are so easy, and Ryan's spot on, the fact that we are so easy to play against, and no disrespect, this is the Scottish League. We've still got Spurs to come to Ibrox. We've still to go to Nice. We've still to go to Olympiacos. I'm sorry for spoiling everybody's night, but if we think it's bad just now, by the time Santa Claus comes, it could be 100 times worse. You know, and I've not seen the manager's comments, but there's so many parallels with the Man United ex-manager. I've said this multiple times. Philip Clement and Eric Ten Hag went to the same school of Bull. They come up with the same nonsense after every game, clutching at straws, talking about statistics. I don't care about that. My eyes tell me this is not a good Rangers team. This is not a well-coached Rangers team. That's on the manager, 100%.
Yep. One of the quotes he did say, Cammy, was that was one of our better performances so far this season. Any thoughts on it?
It's not a high bar, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, it's I can't actually think a great number of performances this season. You know, and it's that again, Scotty. That is what I talk about. Mm-hmm. Clutching at straws. He's actually taking the support for fools, to be honest with you. I'm actually at the stage I was in the latter stages of Michael Beale, where I can't actually listen to him because I'm fed up with excuses. I'm fed up hearing about the players are just in the building, players are just in the country, players are still building their IKEA furniture, all this sort of nonsense. You know, it's your job as a manager. You're very well paid. You've had a close season. And, you know, I think he got a bounce in the first 2 or 3 months. That honestly, Scotty, that feels like a lifetime ago. Mm-hmm. Leaving Ibrox at the end of February after we've beat Hearts 5-0. Everybody's bouncing. You know, we went to Kilmarnock on the Wednesday night and won. And the last 7-8 months have just been shambolic. And this is meant to be a post-match. This isn't the time to talk about the future and all that sort of stuff. But it's going to get toxic. I said this prior to tonight is only going to get intensify even further, and he doesn't help the situation by coming out with absolute nonsense again in his post-match. He done it on Sunday, coming out with nonsense. Doesn't he like it when he gets asked difficult questions in press conferences, bites back and is quite snippy and quite sarcastic in his responses. You know, it's sorry. I'm sorry for rambling, Scotty, but it's just I don't think Philip Clement really gets it. You know, in the early stages at Rangers, I thought he spoke very well. I thought he was very coherent and succinct. But since the pressure has grown since the Motherwell game, I think he's been rambling and he's just been talking absolute nonsense. And it's just like throwing stuff at a wall. You know, it's like throwing darts and just see what combination. You know, Big Dujon coming on the right wing. You know, no disrespect to the big guy, but that's symptomatic of our situation, that we're asking a guy who is a defender to come on, run about on the right wing and cause a wee bit of chaos. And to be fair, he did. But I don't see what the manager's saying when he's coming out with these comments, to be honest with you.
Aye, I know. I think he's trying to pull it over our eyes, if I'm being honest with you. Stu, I was doing a mutual friends who was watching the game tonight, and he turned around and says to me at one each, when he heard the fans singing Ibrox Only, and he says, this team doesn't deserve us. Literally, the guys that have travelled all these miles, paid all their money, followed them near and far, and we're putting in a performance like that. I thought that was probably the best point I've heard all season, if I'm being honest. This team doesn't deserve. There was no cohesion on the park. Nobody was fighting for each other. And that's basics of football. That's got to be put in place by a manager, isn't it?
Aye, definitely. Just a lot of the players, we talked about, Ryan talked about putting an interim manager, and you get like an interim board member putting them in, and the players won't play for them. But I don't think the players are playing now for them either. And I thought it's just a absolute kind of disconnect as well, but from the top to the bottom. And it sounds like a kind of old, kind of cliche thing as well, but there's always been like a Rangers man in the team and stuff like that, like a Scott Arfield and things like that, a guy who gets it. And like, it's like, I think one of the commentators said during the game was it 2 years ago or last year, Scott Arfield came on and scored 2. They changed the tide of the game. We've got not one guy who gets it, who's coming on with that kind of ferocity, that kind of intent to make things happen, push the team forward, drag them, take chances. And it's just dead casual looking. It's quite hard to add anything constructive because it was just such a scunning performance.
That's fine, mate. I don't think any of us can be constructive in it, if I'm being honest. Ryan, we were talking there about obviously the team cohesion. When come in, the first thing he said he wanted to fix was the synergy between the club and the fans. He wanted to get a team playing as a team. We've obviously not even got that right now for where we are as a club. And I just want to get your thoughts on this. We'll do a pod where we kind of look into how Rangers move forward. But who even sacks coming in tonight?
Who's got the power? John Gilligan to sack him? Really? So the Glasgow, we're not the Glasgow Rangers, we're the Glasgow Strangers. Really? Because that's what the team play like. They play like strangers. There's got to be. We always talk about identity and leadership, and we've always had a core of Scottish, British players in the team. You know, guys that give a monkeys. And to be honest with you, I only see guys out there picking up their wages. You know, and they can run about and kiss the badge, and you know, they don't care. They don't care. They don't understand. You see, even just with the disconnect with the last Old Firm game, where Tavernier's taking a bit of a pasting outside the stadium off one of the fans, and next thing you know, there's barriers segregating fans away from the players and stuff like that. Like, you'd never see that back in the day. The players would actually stand and try and talk to the fans and stuff like that and take it. I can't explain, but we need to go back to our roots. We're signing Scottish players, decent Scottish players and decent Scottish talent. How many times is over various podcasts around the stadium we mentioned Warren Shankland over the years? And we're spending £4 million in Diamandi we're spending next season's budget in Cortes who can't play 10 games in a row for us. And we've got a guy there who we know is true to a Rangers' heart, who would run all day for us. He certainly did better than what City Odessers would do for us. But yet, there was a guy on another podcast saying that we've not even came near Tynecastle, even inquired about him to see if he was available. It's beggar's belief, man. Beggar's belief.
And the more you kind of leave off going to get them, you're just kind of, I'll be signing 30-year-old strikers again.
Nah, I don't know. Basically, just to get a reaction to the match, I just wanted to get Ryan's thoughts because he's a guest. Gammy, you get any last thoughts before we wrap up, mate?
Listen, it's very hard to make any sense, but I just think that regardless, players have to show a wee bit of personal pride and a wee bit of effort. You know, my reservations and multiple red flags about the manager have been consistent across the piece with regard to the way that he's stubborn and rigid and all that sort of stuff. But I just see it doesn't look like a happy camp. Without saying I'm a master of psychology, they're just something that they don't look as though they're all pulling in the one direction. There's, you know, they just all look, you know, it's a collection of individuals rather than any sort of team. And I think the manager's been, there's a lot of these players have been here across the course of the last year. We did gut out a lot of players, but there's still players that have been around the training centre and around like Barron within Scottish football, Cyril Dessers. There's a lot of them. So it's not as if you've brought in 16 new players. That's what it's the lack of effort and the lack of giving a toss that shows to me. I don't think they look like a team that show that they're understanding or in agreement with what the manager's asking them to do. I don't think they without saying he's lost the dressing room, it just looks like they don't understand or they don't agree with what he's actually asking them to do. But overall, it just doesn't look like a happy camp. And I think the manager talking about this being a better performance and clutching at straws with regard to statistics and what have you. I would appreciate a wee. I said this on my social media after Sunday. I would appreciate a wee bit of honesty instead of just try to like pull the wool over our eyes with regard to what we're actually watching, without throwing players under a bus, because it does look like a very fragile group of players. I think that's he looks like a manager in denial, and that's again where I go back to Erik ten Hag. He was in similar denial with regard to, you would watch Man United and you would be exactly the same. I'm actually watching there's delusion, you know, master of delusion. I've said a lot of times, Rangers, we talk about identity and styles of play. Rangers just have to win games of football. We're not winning enough games of football, and we're not showing enough of the basics without. And if you can't get the basics right of hard work, effort, determination, winning your individual battles, so that comes for the players, but the manager has a responsibility to foster a synergy, or whatever you want to call it, amongst the group. That's his role every single day at Auchenhowie, when they go away in the training camps, when they go away to hotels, when they're having their meetings and all that sort of stuff. It's his responsibility. What I'm watching, I don't see a team that is aligned to what the manager is asking them to do. And that for me is the... I don't think I think he'll probably still be the manager come the start of next year, because of all the reasons that we've said. But it's not a question of Philip Clement will not be the Rangers manager at the start of next season. I think that's, I think there's circumstances that'll save him just now, but he's basically, I said previously, he's a dead man walking, and unfortunately that's where we're at.
Yep, there's nothing I can disagree with. Ryan, are you want to come back in with something, mate?
Yeah, mate. So I came up with a kind of way of thinking about things just now. That things have happened since we won the league, won the 55 season back in 2021, whatever it was. There's been a cancer in Ibrox. There's been a cancer about the club. Whether it's in the boardroom, it's getting into the recruitment department, it's been hovering about the commercial department. It's just been a cancer spreading around our club. And that cancer's now spread onto the park and it's spread into the place. And we need to cut it. It's as simple as that. We need to find a cure to what's going on in our club, because the bad feeling, the bad will, and all the bad performances and the bad work is now spread into the heart and it's spread into the club. And the playing field where we're seeing what the fans care about the most. And it's just no longer acceptable.
Nope, it certainly is not, mate. It certainly is not. Stu, you get any final thoughts?
I'm more talking a lot about the manager's post-match comments and the stubbornness. And see the day when he said, it was one of our better performances. It's almost like that meme where you've got Ant and Deck, at the backstage and going, and now tell me played well. Like, that's kind of what it was like tonight. But what do you think? Was there anything that he could say that would make us feel, it wouldn't make us feel good, but make us feel better, rather than, like you're saying, try to kid us on, fob us off with these comments? Is there anything he could say to somewhat appeases, or is it just totally untenable now and it doesn't matter what he says?
See, to be honest with you, I'm not expecting. I just want a bit of honesty. It's not going to make me feel any better, but just actually tell me as a Rangers supporter what I'm watching. We need to be better. That isn't good enough for Rangers. Just be honest.
Because playing devil's advocate, I mean, he can't honestly stay there and go, guys, I've totally ballsed up that recruitment drive and this isn't working. I'm got my finger in the air. So, I mean, see, and if that is the case, which I think a lot of people are thinking, and I don't really know what he's supposed to say, but I don't know. I suppose it's easy to ask questions and harder to produce answers sometimes.
I think it's just more about being honest about the performance. He's come out and says that was one of his better performances, isn't it?
Like, can he say that, to be fair?
How many shots did we have? How many times did their keeper have to make a big save? Hopeful football. We went to Kilmarnock a couple of weeks ago and put in an absolutely abysmal performance. 10 days later, in a game up at Aberdeen where you should really be up for it. You should be up for every game, regardless. It shouldn't matter. But a game where they're smelling blood, we're half-arsing about the park. It's getting shot of the manager. There's just so many issues from top to bottom of the club, and I think Ryan's spot on. It's a culture from the top of the club right down and throughout. There's a lot of self-interest and a lot of people within the football club that are only interested in themselves, and I think that's on and off the park. So we bring in a chairman, we bring in a chief executive. It's a start, but there's a whole culture that needs to be changed from the top to the bottom of the club, on and off the park.
Yep, definitely, Cammy, definitely. And on that note, Ryan, thanks for coming on, mate. You want to give Jers TV a wee plug, pal?
Aye, so you get us with the Jers TV live on Facebook. I think we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube. You can follow us pretty much everywhere, to be honest with you. We're all over the place. So we try and do a phone in on a Tuesday night as our kind of main show. But we'll always try and do post-match and pre-match as well, if we can. So yeah, we'll hopefully get a big charity event announcement coming up in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. We're just hopefully speaking to the powers that be upstairs in Ibrox to see if they're interested in supporting us, because we need their go-ahead for what we're trying to do. So watch this space on that, please.
Nice one. Well, thanks for coming on, mate.
No problem. See you again.
Cammy, thanks to you for coming on too, pal.
Aye, it's I get all the good jobs, the post matches after the Old Firm game and after the night. So I get wheeled out when when everything's bad.
Shit
But
hits the
aye,
fan.
listen, it is what it is. But we just have to dust ourselves down, get on with it. I've still not told the wee man that I've got my ticket for Hampden on Sunday. So good morning, wee man.
Oh, fair enough. Stu, thanks to you for coming on, pal.
Cheers, dude. Thanks for having us.
Oh, no problem at all. To all our new watchers and listeners, thanks for tuning in tonight. It's been a busy one. We will be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock to speak about something. Not sure what we'll be speaking about yet, but whether it's the future of Rangers or whether it's dissecting a awful game, we'll see you tomorrow night anyway. Take care. Cheers.